All right, welcome on in to the newest edition of Falls Count Anywhere podcast here on September the 10th of 2022. Charlie Turner here along with Chris DiCarlo and John Restaino. Gentlemen, how's it going today?
Good.
Very good.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. We got some wrestling to talk about, of course, as always. We are guestless today. We were potentially lined up with Mr. Bobby Bass, no class Bobby Bass. I guess he does have no class. He didn't show up today. But no, that's fine. We'll get him back on the rebound, of course. So unfortunately, no guest today, but we look forward to getting Bobby Bass on the show, and of course, always some other guests on the pipeline as well. But gentlemen, we got a week of wrestling to talk about. Of course, a lot went down, especially in AEW. Not only making their AEW or their Buffalo debut here, and doing the Dynamite and Rampage show, but man, there was a lot of shit that happened after All Out, the pay-per-view last week. Have you guys seen any of this with CM Punk and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega? I mean, I guess things got a little nasty. CM Punk had some words about Colt Cabana and had some shit talking about Kenny Omega going into business for himself on the mic, on a live mic during one of the shows. I really don't know all the details on this, but I guess what ended up ultimately happening was there was a huge brawl backstage. And there are some clips online where there was a chair getting thrown across the room and somebody caught a chair to the face and got seriously injured. I think it was one of the Young Bucks. But yeah, it got a little bit nasty. I mean, guys, what do you think about CM Punk? I mean, he comes into AEW, he makes this great return. The crowd loves him. He's talking about elevating talent, and he wants to be in a part of a professional wrestling company where, everybody is on the same page backstage and not being run by a fan of one, as CM Punk would refer to Vince McMahon, as he just made the show just for himself and for nobody else. But, at the end of the day, CM Punk went into business for himself, and it pissed a lot of guys off, man. What do you guys think about that? And will we see CM Punk ever make a return to AEW?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, okay. For me, it makes you wonder what happened at WWE. I don't know. It's like in any sport, like when you hear these things and something happened somewhere else, and now here it is again. So it makes you wonder what kind of a issue is this guy, and is he going to be?
Yeah, like a diva wide receiver in football or something.
Yeah, is it going to be worth it to have him around anymore? Which is really a shame, obviously, because it is, I'm sure, because he is such a star and so great at what he does. And but geez, that was a mess. It sounds it's funny. The UFC just had the same thing happen backstage, where they almost just canceled their pay-per-view this week. They had a big brawl. This whole thing had to be switched. The whole card is switched tonight from what it originally was. No one met weight. They got into a huge fight back there. They couldn't even do their press conference. Sounds just like this, identical. And there's one guy there that caused the problem. And here it's CM Punk, and there's something's not right, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I got the details, and Charlie, you are right. CM Punk's friend there, whatever his name is,
Ace, whatever the hell. Yeah, the guy that came out and slapped him a little bit. Yeah.
Threw the chair at, I believe it was Mike or Mark Jackson of the Young Bucks. Got the chair towards the eye, and it got pretty heated. But CM Punk, though, was in that press conference, was put his drink or whatever he was drinking, the coldness of the drink, against his wrist there.
Jeez.
And so that injury happened during the match, I take it. I didn't watch any of the pay-per-view, but I did see all the other stuff after. And now he's going to be out for another 6 months, they're saying, because of this wrist or bicep or tricep torn.
Yeah.
And
it created a scramble for AEW because they had the show coming up Wednesday night after the pay-per-view on Sunday. And I can tell you, I was there. I was at the AEW show here in Buffalo. It was awesome, by the way. It was a great show. They do a good job. And you got, when you have veterans within that company like Jim Ross and Chris Jericho and whoever else, Tony Schiavone, that have been involved with wrestling, it's going to be a decent show with the input from those guys anyway. But I really loved the vibe of the crowd Wednesday night. It was fantastic. It felt like a little bit of a touch of the old Attitude Era days, with the crowd being super into it. and not just sitting on their hands or filming something on their cell phone. Usually most WWE shows are pretty quiet, but this was a pretty lively AEW crowd. But anyway, I'll get back to that. But the point is, to start that show out, Tony Khan came out on screen, made the statement, there's not going to be any interim champion or any of that bullshit like they did last time. They're just going straight to a tournament for the vacated title. So he announced that he stripped CM Punk and he stripped Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks of the Trios title that they just won, that they just introduced this new title, and they had to strip them of it 3 days later. So craziness, man. But the good thing was the fallout from that on the fan perspective was pretty cool, because part of the show was that tournament for the world title. We got to see Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson go at it in a great match live here in Buffalo. It was awesome to see that. So, and then with the Trios title, they just had a title match that night. If you might have seen it or not, I'm not sure, but the Death Triangle winning those, defeating Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. So Death Triangle with Bastard Pac and those guys come away with that championship. But yeah, it's interesting to see, because it looks like the injuries with Punk might be long term. I don't know if we're ever going to see him back with AEW, and he doesn't have like a welcome mat in WWE. Yeah, because we saw a lot of live promos during the Raw days that Punk was there, and there's one in particular that stands out where Triple H is in the face of CM Punk, and he kind of goes on into a shoot telling CM Punk, like, look, if things don't go your way, you're the first guy complaining. And now, all these years later, Triple H might be right about that.
Yeah, well, my question to you, Charlie, is, though, which I seen on YouTube. Like I said, I didn't even watch the show yet. I have it on my DVR. But I saw a clip of MJF coming out with Josh Allen jersey. That must have been a loud pop.
Yes. And, and on a side note, Chris Jericho, recently on social media, I can't remember where I saw it, but he even stated, he goes, it's only a matter of time before MJF is like the ultimate babyface for AEW, because what he did was to elaborate on what Chris was saying there with the Josh Allen jersey. So MJF makes this big return, comes out in a Josh Allen jersey. He's in Buffalo. Crowd absolutely loves it, goes nuts for this guy. And he has us, I'm part of it, right? I'm part of the marks in the crowd that are just completely feeding into this. Where he's just saying, Josh Allen and the Bills, I'm so happy to be in Buffalo, this and that. And he totally has the crowd eating out of his hand. And then Jon Moxley comes out, interrupts. Next thing you know, MJF just completely flips. He strips off the Josh Allen jersey, wipes his ass with it, and says the Bills are the worst team in the history of professional sports or something like that. And the crowd just completely turns on him and gets behind Moxley at that point. So he has the fans on the string, man. MJF is fantastic on the mic.
Yeah,
I think it's only a matter of time before he is a babyface, and they got to put the belt on him. Now, he did state too, and if anybody watched the show, he did win the casino chip, the casino match. Now MJF is like the wild card or the Money in the Bank version of AEW. So he's not in the tournament, but he could challenge, of course, the winner of that tournament, which should be very good. I think it's down to, if I have this correct, Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson in one of the brackets there, and then there's two others on the bottom half of the bracket. I should have had that ready, but some good matches coming up, and if MJF gets a crack at the winner, man, I think it's the best move for them right now to put the belt around him. What do you guys think about that? You guys see MJF as the champ anytime soon?
Go ahead, Chris.
Recently, with what's going on, yeah, I agree with that.
I think he would kind of anchor it, right?
Man, I like Daniel Bryan. That would be so. I mean, I guess he's had his time. I don't know. The CM Punk thing still kind of just. It's obvious. Then I just back to that real quick, and you guys would know if it wasn't for him, if he kept that, that never happens, right? Backstage, that it was all him.
It's rare that it gets that bad. Yeah.
So, and it was all just him talking. I mean, I don't know. But back to what you're saying, I kind of like Daniel Bryan. I'd love to see that maybe.
Yeah, I'd like to see him have since he was WWE champion, I'd like to see him AEW champion, even if it's for a month.
Yeah, because he's often referred to as the best like technical wrestler in the business right now. It would make sense, and then for Bryan on the Bryan Danielson side of things, and then MJF is just one of the best on the mic, period. And a good wrestler. He's a solid wrestler too. He's not like he stinks in the ring. So, me
That's good then.
personally, I think MJF should get that run.
That's good then that he's so good on the mic, right? Because we know how good Punk is. So Punk's going to make himself just not necessary anymore. I'm guessing he'll be out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, I was one of the fans that was extremely happy that he re-signed or he signed with AEW and he was making a return to pro wrestling. I was fired up about that, and like I said, his speech when he debuted in AEW about how he wanted to elevate the talent and he wants to be part of the team and all this, and then geez, a year later or within a year, it's just absolute chaos backstage, and AEW's got a lot of damage control to take care of backstage. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how this develops over the next months coming up, because they need a little bit of stability right now. They got no champion. They got the tournament going on, so we'll see where that goes. But again, I want to reiterate, man, when AEW makes a return here to Buffalo, or wherever city you're watching from, if AEW comes to your town, grab some tickets, man. It's a good time. Like I said, the crowd felt a little bit Attitude Era like. Everybody was hyped up. It was a bit of an older demographic. It felt like there weren't a lot of like kids there, which there's kids there. That's fine. Nobody's getting naked or anything, right? But it just felt a little bit more geared toward the demographic of what we were used to in the Attitude Era, and it was just a lively crowd, man. It was a great time, and so yeah, if they do come back to the area, I know I'll be there, and if you get a chance to see AEW live. Now the thing was capacity wise, the arena holds about maybe 18,000, I think, for Sabres games normally, and you include the floor seats. I think it's about 18K. It was probably about half filled. I would say there's about maybe 8,000 or 9,000 there, but it comes off great on TV. However, they camera tricks or whatever, you couldn't really tell from watching the broadcast that it was half empty. But for
any
fans that were there, it was pretty loud.
Any thing they do off camera?
Nothing crazy. No. The only thing they were doing off camera was
after the 10 o'clock. Did they?
No, there was nothing that really went down. Nothing post air that went on that was crazy. The one thing that kind of upset me was West Side Gun is a local rapper here in Buffalo, and I mean, he didn't upset me. Good for him that he got on the show. But the Acclaimed, one of my favorite tag teams, I think they're starting to really grow on the fan base, the wrestling fan base. The Acclaimed come out and they do like their freestyle rap or whatever, and they got like the funny thing going on there with that. I love when they come out and they get the crowd hyped up with that. They got interrupted. They were starting to do it, and they got interrupted by our local rapper here, West Side Gun, and the crowd was a little bit pissed about that. They wanted to hear from the Acclaimed. But I love their spiel too. Wow. I'd love to see the belts on them pretty soon as well.
And then on the flip coin, we got some WWE news since they had their pay-per-view and after the Monday night after that, right?
Yeah. The Clash at the Castle, of course, took place. I don't want to say I'm surprised that McIntyre didn't win, but it would have been a nice setup for him to win. I
thought they would have done it at least for a month. I mean, that was like his hometown, right? Give him the belt in his hometown for a month, but
yeah, give him that crowd pop that he never got, because when he won the belt at WrestleMania, it was at the Thunderdome with the freaking monitors. So he never had he's celebrating and it's just like an empty room technically. So yeah, it's unfortunate he didn't get his moment, but he will. He got attacked last night by Karrion Kross again to end the show on SmackDown. So we'll see where that feud goes. That should be interesting. And then, of course, I don't know if you guys are following Monday Night Raw and this whole storyline with The Miz and Dexter Lumis. Dexter Lumis kidnapped The Miz a couple weeks ago, and then The Miz made it back, of course. But The Miz was in a steel cage match for the U.S. title against Bobby Lashley last week on Raw. And then as he's on the top of the cage, he looks down and comes sliding out on his back, facing the damn ceiling, was Dexter Lumis, staring a hole through The Miz, and it was just freaking hilarious, man. Like the guy just slid out of the ring out of nowhere, staring at the ceiling, and the camera angle's pointing down at him, and he's got like this intense look on his face with like no expression. It's I don't know, it's pretty funny. I love what Triple H is doing with the surprise factor since he has taken over. There's that element of surprise that's come back a little bit.
Yeah, that's a plus. I'm hoping they change up the network to accommodate us old school fans again, like when they started the network.
Yeah.
But
Come here and watch the old school clips though instead, right?
yeah,
Come here to Falls Count Anywhere podcast.
This is the place. Yeah.
That's
of
right.
course. But and then Braun Strowman, I'm sure they're going to put the belt on him sooner than later, maybe, or some.
Yeah. Good to see the return of the monster. He's now the monster among monsters, the monster of all monsters. Braun Strowman is his new shtick or his new name, whatever. In fantastic shape, by the way. If you go back and look at his original debut as part of the Wyatt family, when he had on like that goat mask or whatever whatever that was, he was a little bit heavy, big dude, of course, in stature. He's like 6'10". But man, when he made his return this past Monday, the guy is absolutely shredded.
Cut up, yeah.
Yeah, like he came in with like a huge belly and shit back then, and he comes in Monday and he's in phenomenal shape. You could tell he didn't let himself go in his time off there.
Wow.
So yeah, good to see Braun back, man. We'll see how they use him now going forward. It's only a matter of time before him and Roman Reigns clash again. So we'll see where that goes. And of course, Solo Sikoa making his main roster debut. He was part of NXT. Solo is a part of the Bloodline. He's the younger brother of the Usos, the twin brothers. So he's the younger brother of them. So the Bloodline has been added to, and of course, Sami Zayn is in that mix with them as well. But we haven't seen a lot of Paul Heyman recently. I'm not really sure what's going on with Heyman, but cool to see Solo Sikoa make his debut. He looks exactly like the Usos. I think they're all twins. But it was cool to see that as well. And then it just adds to the element of the Bloodline. What do you guys think of this Bloodline faction and Roman Reigns as a heel? How do you think that's going? I mean, should they keep that going, or is it time for maybe a title change and break that up a little bit?
Yeah, for me, it's time for a change. I mean, this guy's going to be the greatest of all time. I mean, I don't know how really by days. I don't know if anyone. It's unstoppable, right? I mean, how many days has this guy been the champion?
700 plus. Yeah, 700 plus.
It's unbelievable. He's gonna be the greatest champ. I mean, when you think about it, it's crazy. Yeah, I think it's time. Gotta be time, man.
Yeah, I mean, I like, of course, bringing on the relatives and the Samoan dynasty that's been throughout the world of professional wrestling on different territories, like Snuka, Rocky Johnson. They're all related. It's great to see that, like the Von Erichs and MLW.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me, it's more than time. Anybody but Roman, anybody but Brock.
Yeah, time for a change. But I think with Triple H taking over the creative responsibility, I think we will see that eventually. It won't be as force fed as Vince McMahon loved to do with some of these guys. And I noticed too, the other good thing. Well, a side note on that, with the way the match was decided, Solo Sikoa pulled the referee out of the ring by his ankles as he was counting the three count. Now I just read this the other day. That was actually another Vince McMahon rule where he ditched that. He never wanted to see that as a potential finish in a match where the referee got yanked out of the ring during the 3 count. And Triple H brought that back and specifically used it for that match. And I thought it turned into a good result. I thought it was something we haven't seen in a while that was unexpected. I thought, it had me pulled in because I thought it was over. And then referee gets pulled out by his ankles. And again, another weird rule that Vince McMahon wouldn't allow that to happen anymore.
Well, on one hand, I could understand why, but on the other hand, like you said, nowadays with Triple H shaking things up, the situation, that's what he used for the situation for the turn or the adding of the cousin nephew. So that was good for that.
Right. Yeah, every now and then, of course. I mean, it was just weird that it was eliminated as like specifically you can't do that. But yeah, I get it. It makes sense why they did, but it was a cool finish for. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it in a while, so.
And just real quick, another note on the WWE. There, I see on the pay-per-view they had son turn against father and Dominic Mysterio
Dominic,
against his
Yeah.
father and Edge. Reminds me back in the NWA, John. I don't know if you ever knew this in like the early 80s there, like on Georgia Championship Wrestling, they had Lars Anderson wanted to fight his brother Ole. And the NWA said, no, brother versus brother. Well, we never saw brother versus brother until WrestleMania 10 with Brett and Owen going
Brett and
at it.
Owen.
Yeah.
And
I
now we got son father angle. I don't know.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, the whole. I like Rey Mysterio, but like, you know, the way they were doing it, it was, you know, he was a face, and so was Dominic, and it was, were you really taking Dominic serious as like a, you know, I understand he's young and he's just starting, and his dad is Rey Mysterio, so he gets that advantage of being on camera, but he looks so green still sometimes, you know. But yeah, the heel turn was cool because the whole thing with Rhea Ripley, who's done a great job with the Judgment Day. I think Rhea Ripley's been fantastic. I think she's been the missing ingredient with those two guys. Just the fact that she was roughing up Dominic and basically like she made him her bitch, right? And then like toughened him up a little bit, and then he finally just snapped and went to like this mullet and like the dark clothes and everything. Yeah, it's interesting to see. It's an interesting twist to that story to see where that goes. Now that he turned on his old man, he clotheslined Rey Mysterio, man. That was kind of cool.
Kind of reminds you back when David Flair was starting out in the WCW against his father, Ric Flair.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So very cool elements of that storyline. Guys, we want to check in with our sponsors here, right? And then we'll come back. And of course, we have some chic tweets. We want to have some fun with. He had some good tweets this week. I got a good laugh out of it. And of course, Chris has the vault that we're going to open up as well with some classic wrestling clips as well. So we're going to check in with our sponsors, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. Falls Count Anywhere podcast. Charlie's here along with John and Chris. Guys, one thing I wanted to mention too before we roll along with the show, you know, as I was rolling into the arena there for the AEW show, you know, there's guys on the streets are handing out flyers and shit like that, and you're just like, yeah, leave me alone, dude. So one dude, you know, shoves a flyer at me, and I take it, and you know, and then it occurred to me like 5 minutes after I walked away, like, dude, why didn't I say shit to this guy that we do a podcast, right? So anyway, long story short here. It was a gentleman from Nickel City Wrestling, who we're somewhat familiar with. They have an event coming up. This is the flyer he handed me here, and I should have gave that to you, John, to put on screen. But you can check them out on Facebook. Again, that's Nickel City Wrestling, or let me get into more detail here. They have a show coming up, which is called the Nightmare Jackpot. That's Nickel City Wrestling Nightmare Jackpot. It is October 8th at 6 p.m., and it's taking place in Batavia at the Batavia Downs Gaming Facility there. For ticket information, which is general admission $30, ringside $40. If you go to ncwrestling.booktix.com, so that's ncwrestling.booktix.com for ticket information there and some more information on that card. So shout out to Nickel City Wrestling. I was a little standoffish there when you were shoveling that flyer in my face. I didn't want to be bothered with that shit, and I tied a few on. I was like, yeah, get out of here, dude. But then I realized, I should probably give these guys some love here, and that's what we want to do here because they are local, and we love to support the local independent wrestling here as always. So shout out to Nickel City Wrestling. You guys do a good job. Continue your hustle out there, man. For guys not like me that are willing to take those flyers. Well, I did take the flyer, and I just want to just throw those guys some love for sure. But guys, we want to roll along here on our social media content. The Iron Sheik, we got to check in with him. A lot's happened in the world this past week, and the Sheik had some thoughts on that. A few thoughts on that, of course, and of course he had some thoughts on the Hulkster as well. But John, go ahead and throw one of those up there. So yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen this picture of the Hulkster, but the Sheik took some liberties with it here, and Bovada website said waiting patiently for the NFL season to start. So the Sheik, of course, saying, "No, Bubba, that jabroni look outside to make sure I'm still waiting to beat the fuck out of him." So he's looking for the Sheik, according to the Sheik. He doesn't want to get humbled.
Right.
That's great. It's just great.
All right, let's bring the next one. Hold on.
Yes, and of course some love for the Bills Mafia. Buffalo Bills just make the Rams humble, Bubba. Thank you, Sheik, for giving the Buffalo Bills some love, our local football team here. Hey, guys, I'm going to brag a little bit. The Bills are really, really good. Josh Allen is a freaking god. He's becoming a god in this town little by little with every game, man. The guy's phenomenal. So thank you to the Sheik for giving our hometown Buffalo Bills some love here as the NFL season started off on Thursday night with a huge Bills victory, 31-10 over the Rams. But anyway, go ahead, John, get the next one there. Oh, and I guess he's got to listen. If you got a problem with the manager at Target, if you're going to be a Karen or if you're going to be some guy that's out of control in Target, if you insult the manager of the Target, you have heat with me, Bubba, according to the Sheik. So listen, if you give anybody at Target a hard time, you're going to get camel clutched by the Sheik for it.
That's nice. Wow. That's nice of them. Good.
Yeah, you're looking for an end table. They don't have the one you want, and you're bitching at the manager. You bitch long enough, you're going to get humbled and put in the camel clutch.
All right, here we go.
And then the final one here. Of course, we heard the news of Queen Elizabeth passing away at the age of 96. Of course, that made world news. And of course, the Sheik tying wrestling into it, that the only queen that he misses is Miss Elizabeth, the first lady of the World Wrestling Federation from back in the day. Look at the beautiful Miss Elizabeth, of course. But tragically passed away very untimely back in 2003, I believe it was, with the addiction that she battled there. And that's another side note too. If you guys haven't watched any of the some of the A&E documentaries, we were talking about a little bit about this pre-show. A&E has on every Sunday night they have a WWE Rivals show that they put on, and also a WWE documentary show that they put on every week. And they've been fantastic. I haven't seen them all, but the ones that I have seen have been great. Lex Luger, one of our local guys here from Western New York, his was fantastic about how he went through the ascent as the main guy in WWE with the Lex Express and all that stuff. But he really got still to this day very emotional about talking about Elizabeth, and he said that hit him hard when that happened. He went through about a 5 or 6 year period where he was just in a dark place, and it really affected his health. I mean, he's wheelchair bound right now, and unfortunately, and it took among other things, took a toll on his body. But emotionally, he said that still affects him with what happened to Elizabeth, because it was just so they were having some fun. They went a little too far with the pills, and next thing you know, he tried waking her up, and she never responded, and that was the story. But yeah, anyway, if you get a chance to watch those documentaries, it really goes into a lot of detail about some of that stuff that happened, outside of the ring. So very good stuff there. But rest in peace to the Queen, Queen Elizabeth, who passed away at the age of 96. And how does that work now? So now it's King Charles that takes over.
King
I don't know
Charles
how that all
III.
works. Oh, look at that!
King
Maybe
Charles III.
that's not me, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm the third in my family.
Yeah.
Not much of a royal bloodline though.
Well, and what they call, and then his wife is the queen of something, but she's not the queen consort or whatever they call her.
Oh.
So.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know how that works. One thing, a side note, and I don't know if this even ties into the Queen, but like the British Parliament, when they get together and they start yelling at each other, I don't know if you guys have ever seen this shit, but there's like 100 people in one little tiny room, and there's no order, man. It's just people screaming at each other the whole time. It's pretty fun. I wish they do that in this country, man. Some people that need to be screamed at in our government. We won't even go there. We'll save that for another show. Screw that, right?
Right.
But yeah, thank you to the Iron Sheik once again for the social media content that we always have fun watching. So, but Chris, of course, the bread and butter of our show is the wrestling vault that Chris has at his disposal. What do you got for us this week, man?
Yes, I know it's been a while since we had some pretty big guests, and our show was different formatted, but we're back like with the tweets and the clips here. We have three clips this week of a couple of our guests that we already had on the show a couple weeks ago. And of course, these are from my own personal collection. I do not sell them. I do not trade them. I put them for the use of this show and my personal collection. And John, let's roll. The first one should be on. Yes, here we go. Nikita Koloff, when we had him on the show, guys, remember he talked about his first match, and here it is.
Oh, very good.
Oh, wow.
Against Barry Hart there, Barry Horowitz. And as we can see, it is not long here.
No.
And here it comes the Russian sickle. Goodbye.
Oh, my God.
That's great.
And like we talked to him about fans running into the ring after that guy. What are they nuts?
And then here, Charlie, you mentioned a big pop, and he did too, about his face turn.
Yes. Listen to the crowd here.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, they absolutely lose it because you're not expecting this big Russian dude to turn face like that.
Right.
In that era, especially.
Yep.
That was awesome.
And then here, a little recent clip from actually 1990, John.
Yeah.
Nikita, the nephew, against their Uncle Ivan.
Yeah. Who is that announcing? You know?
That was Herb Abrams. This was under the UWF back in like between 90 and 92.
Oh, cool.
Actually, yelled a piece of garbage. That was good.
Uncle Ivan. But our next clip is another guest that we just recently had.
Oh, yeah. Jumping Jim Brunzell's High Flyers.
Yes. This was, like talked about, going against Nick Bockwinkel and Ray Stevens with their manager, the brilliant one, Bobby Heenan. But look how the ropes were, and I kind of like that. It was cool. And then
Stevens have like that traditional wrestling haircut in that match.
Yeah, and then here they are against Duncombe and Lanza, which he mentioned.
Yeah.
Duncombe and Lanza. I mean, what a team! Like,
what a team. Yeah. Oh, geez.
And then here we are, High Flyers against the East-West connection. There you see Jesse the Body Ventura in the ring and Adrian Adonis in the corner. When Jesse had hair too.
Yeah, this was good.
And then this was a brief, close to his first interview, I believe, in the WWF.
Oh yeah, look at that.
It's pretty amazing that a lot of these clips, no matter the territory, and of course we know Mean Gene was a huge part of the WWF during our era, but Gene Okerlund, man, that guy was everywhere.
Yeah, he was everywhere. He was very good. I met him one time after a show in Buffalo. Very nice guy.
Oh, sweet.
Too
Yeah.
bad he's gone. I'm sure we could have had him on the show.
Right.
Oh man, love Mean Gene. He was the best.
Yes.
But here we are, a rare clip from Japan that they talked about the High Flyers here against an odd team, heel and face, Kerry Von Erich there and Dory Funk Jr.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Japan had a lot of great matches. If you can deal with the Japan commentary or turn it down and just watch the match, they had a lot of matches here. And here is their WWF debut.
Listen to the voice. That's great.
The Fink. Yes, Howard
Bringing
Finkel.
out there of all time.
White Bear Lake.
Ah, man.
Well, I'll tell you, man, and we just mentioned Gene Okerlund, Vince McMahon, he's announcing, but the Fink too, man. Just those legendary voices from back then, man. So hard to duplicate or have anybody fill those shoes, even to this day. It's just wow, those guys were. I mean, the
Solid.
Fink is the best of all time as far as ring announcers go, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, unreal, man. And Okerlund. I mean, these guys are building blocks. They were just as big as Hogan. I mean, it just without them, something wouldn't be the same, right? No way, it couldn't be the same.
Yeah, and even like Jim Brunzell mentioned to us about Bobby Heenan, with his timing on the mic. And you guys watch plenty of shows. Like, man, one of my favorite WrestleManias, and just because it's not even just for the commentary, but part of the reason is the commentary. WrestleMania 8 with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. Man, they were on point all night. Those two guys were fantastic together, and Heenan was phenomenal that night. Man, he was just the one-liners were rolling. But yeah, some of those guys you just can't replace them. It's pretty incredible. The Fink and Mean Gene and of course, like I said, Gene Okerlund spent some time in, was it AEW or AWA, Chris, that he spent time in before WWE?
Yep, I started in the mid 70s with the AWA until 83, and then 83 until 93. Must have had a 10-year contract there with the WWF. And then he jumped ship to WCW in 93 until 2001 there.
Yeah.
You know what must have took forever? And sometimes on YouTube I've seen this, and it must have took them forever, where you'd see Okerlund doing whatever, a promotion for being in the Boston Garden. And he'd have that. Then next thing you know, he's doing one for Madison Square Garden. So, unbelievable how long that must have took, because they had to be shooting that. Well, actually, the one time they were doing it all in the same day. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, remember back in the day from the Allentown and Hamburg Fairgrounds and PA with the WWF, with Championship Wrestling and All-Star Wrestling, they did the promos before the crowd got in there.
Yeah.
I think they used to do them on Saturday morning, they would say. And then, they did their TV taping and had the crowd in there then. So.
Yeah,
Really
good
cool
stuff, man. Good stuff. Was that the last clip we had there?
Yeah, we got one more
more.
here with our buddy, the Iron Sheik, John.
All right.
And this is good and funny. Here we go.
Here we go. This is a classic Iron Sheik from the WWC World Wrestling Council down in Puerto Rico.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
Cameraman, zoom it.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Yeah, this was like mid 80s here.
Like once he gets going, once you pull the cord on the Sheik, it's it, man.
I can't
He's
stop laughing.
But here he goes going against they're not Puerto Rican, he's American.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Carlos Colon.
Yeah, Carlos Colon was the big face over the years in Puerto Rico territory, of course. And the Sheik was everywhere, yeah.
Oh, look at this.
Zoom it.
Look at the physique on the Sheik, huh?
Oh,
The mustache. Oh,
Yeah.
The guy in the background.
Yo
You know,
hola.
I love this.
Love it.
Just enjoy this. Look at this.
Gotta love it, man. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying to get the Sheik to come on the show and do a Sheik tweet. I'm
Can
trying.
you imagine, man?
Oh,
What the hell?
the Sheik trying to sing the Iranian anthem here.
Sounds like Bon Jovi recently. Yeah.
Classic Sheik here, down in Puerto Rico,
Oh, geez.
mid to late 80s.
Listen to the music. This is great.
Oh yeah, a little Iranian flair to the music. Uh-oh, here comes the back suplex.
Ooh.
Here he is against Tony Atlas down there.
Oh, yeah.
There goes the kick with the boots, John.
With those,
Yeah,
with those
love
damn
it.
boots.
He's really
Imagine
one of
how
my...
much they should replicate those boots. I bet you know how many people would buy those boots?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, here
this
he
must
is,
be
just
Cologne,
destroying
right?
this guy.
Oh,
No, this is
the wood.
This is... Oh, jeez.
Just destroying some guy there.
Yeah, some guy. He threw the chair
Oh,
at him. He didn't even hit
what is
him.
that?
Now
Telephone
he's-
cord he just wrapped around his neck.
Now he's choking him out.
Choking him with the landline.
Back in the ring.
Yeah, right.
They're again putting the boots to Mr. USA Tony Atlas here.
He's my favorite. This is one of my... He's got it, for me, top 3 guys of all that I enjoy watching. This guy's great.
Oh, inside the steel cage there, choking out Carlos Colon.
And then,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
he had it coming to him.
And there it is, the dreaded
The
camel
camel clutch.
clutch.
That's right. The camel clutch, man.
Look at that. Oh, Jesus.
And here we found a rare one, Charlie.
Oh,
The Iron Sheik against King Kong Bundy.
wow. And Bundy was attempting the clutch there, it looked like, no?
Oh, and here's the Sheik hit him with the flag, and now he's going to get him with one of those.
Oh, it was like a flag pole. Okay. I thought those were the clubs.
That was like a form of the clubs. Although you see the Sheik here has some age to him, but he's still against King Kong Bundy.
The announcer's terrible. That's great. That was in the boiler, he said. Oh, my God.
We don't have the whole match here, but this was something. That was definitely rare indeed.
Something interesting when I was reading about Bobby Bass, he did not like the Iron Sheik at all.
Really? Ooh.
He
He-
called
some
him
heat
out. He can't stand the Iron Sheik. Yeah.
Wow, we'll have to find out about that in the future.
Yeah.
He could not stand him. Called him a lot of things in there. He called him selfish. He called him, man, he really ripped him apart.
Wow.
So
Well,
Maybe we can get like maybe we can set up a match here with those two guys, you know?
we got to let the Sheik know that Bobby Bass. Could you imagine the tweet with Bass talking like this?
The Sheik
We'll
would
We'll
want
have
to
to,
humble him, no doubt.
Oh, it would be
John,
easy. Yeah,
we'll have to mention that under one of the Sheik tweets that we see during the week. That's a good
definitely.
idea.
Yes, because Bass is talking. I can clip it offline. He says a lot of stuff.
Uh-oh.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, guys, one thing I wanted, that was our final clip, correct? The Sheik there?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, one thing now I've been trying to find something for this show to kind of stick on a weekly basis, and you know, we threw some ideas around. We were maybe going to feature one wrestler for our clips, but we've seen other shows that do that. Our good buddy Rob Kellum, he the Stro, he does a show that's kind of similar to that. So I don't know if that was a good idea. I don't want to copy him. So, and I was thinking, okay, maybe we could do like a wrestling moment, this moment in wrestling history. We tried that a little bit. I maybe came up with something here that might stick. I don't know, but bear with me here, guys. This is what I'm going to go with this week. Is this week's Falls Count Anywhere match of the week? So I'm plucking random Falls Count Anywhere matches from the wrestling world, and for this week, I randomly chose from WrestleMania 35. It was a Falls Count Anywhere match between Shane McMahon and The Miz, which ended with a 15-foot suplex off of a scaffold, where both guys suplexed each other off of the scaffold, and ended up being where Shane McMahon won the match. But that was that was WrestleMania 35. Go ahead and check that out. That was the Falls Count Anywhere match of the week, if you will. So
That's cool.
I'm going to try to bring that each and every week here. Find a random Falls Count Anywhere match and kind of give you some details on that. So again, Shane McMahon versus The Miz, WrestleMania 35, a 15-foot suplex off of a scaffold. I honestly don't remember that. So I'm going to go back and watch that. But looking up the info on that, I thought it was kind of cool. So
really
That's
cool.
Great
Yeah, I like
idea.
it. Very good. That's fun.
But other than that, gentlemen, hopefully, you guys will be holding it down next week. Unfortunately, I have some obligations with work. I won't be doing the show next week, but hopefully we'll get our scheduled guest, which was No Class Bobby Bass. We've got some questions for him about his wrestling career and some of the guys he's rubbed elbows with during his wrestling career. There's a picture we found of him with Andre the Giant, so we definitely want to hear some of that. Yeah, there he goes there. Sheesh, Andre, man, where does that guy buy jeans when he was alive, right? But there he is, Bobby Bass. There won some titles there in the NWA territories up in Canada and throughout. So, but gentlemen, as we wrap it up here, any final thoughts?
We got our jobber of the week.
Yeah, jeez, how could I forget? But in typical jobber fashion, we almost forgot about the jobber. So we got time for one last match here with our jobber of the week, if you will. And let's bring him on to this. Chris, good thing you're on the ball, man, because I'm not. I was ready to close it out. But we got Doug Vines is our jobber of the week. Doug Vines wrestled a career 16 matches, was actually 4-3 in the USWA. In the USWA, and he's from Chicago, Illinois. He might be a Bears fan there, John. There you go.
Yeah.
He's from Chicago, Illinois, and he also wrestled under some other names. The one I found interesting was the Dog Catcher. He was Dog Catcher number 1, and he teamed up, of course, with Dog Catcher number 2. And so, I don't know how good of a name that is for a wrestler.
God.
Number 2.
Can you imagine the Dog Catchers against the Moondogs?
Against the Moondog, right? That's the first thing that came to mind, right?
Water Meter Reader 1.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is unbelievable. Who knows?
And then WCW had the Ding Dongs. Remember that?
Oh my God. I don't remember that. The Ding Dong.
I remember the Ding Dong. Well,
yeah, that was like 89, 90. That was an idea of the executive vice president at the time, that Jim Herd in WCW, that Flair hated.
Oh.
Yeah, they came out. Their outfits were orange and white bodysuit. They had the mask, and then on the bodysuit they had the bells. Get it? Ding dong.
Oh my God. That might be as bad as Disco Inferno, and oh my goodness, that might be worse than Disco Inferno. Good Lord. But yeah, the Dog Catchers. The Dog Catchers in the USWA. They enjoyed some success. They had a title run there for a little while. So,
wow.
It was a Floyd Vines being his real name, Doug Vines being his wrestling. I don't get that sometimes. Floyd's not good enough, so we're gonna call you Doug. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, there he is, a former dog catcher.
Doug Vines. Well, real quick, I mean, let's go back and a couple big stars, right? We can talk about. I'm sure Robin there knows. Shawn Michaels was actually Michael Hickenbottom.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And DDP is Paige Falkenberg. So a lot of them are not their.
Okay.
Wow.
A lot of them are not their real names.
Sid Vicious, I know, is Sid Udy or something like that.
Yeah, and so.
But
it's odd how they come up with the names, right?
Yeah, I don't know how you go from Floyd to Doug though. That was a little.
Yeah, and then
somebody was setting him up for failure, man.
Ric Flair was Richard Fleer, like Fleer, the baseball cards. Fleer, remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So crazy.
Absolutely, good stuff, man. Good stuff, guys. I think now we're ready to wrap up, right?
Well,
after we get our public service announcements here.
Well, before that, John, right off the bat, thinking off my mind here, we want to thank all our viewers across all our platforms. And here we go, of course, here on Facebook. And next here we are on Twitter, of course, at Count Anywhere. And we're also on YouTube under the Friends with a Z Media Network. All our shows are on there, not just this show, but John's show and the sports show as well. And also we're on Spotify too. So we appreciate all the views and all the watchers on the platforms.
Yep. 100%. So check us out. And again, our main hub is like our Facebook page. But yeah, thank you to everybody that takes the time to check out the show. Yep. And John, do you have some information for us there? Again, we are a show of the people. We want to put out some important information there.
I think every week I'm going to choose a different thing to put out. This week is going to be human trafficking. Here's the human trafficking hotline. It's 888-373-7888. This is all of North America. If you see anything that you think resembles anything like that, it's a major problem here all across the globe. So please, if you see anything that looks like that to you, that's an anonymous number, no names, no nothing. Don't worry, it's not a false report. It's nothing of the sort. You just call. So you see something that you don't think looks right, please, you could save a whole bunch of lives and a whole bunch of trauma that's going to happen to these poor people that are being kidnapped and used for different trades and different things. So human trafficking, 888-373-7888. Call that number, completely anonymous. You see something, please say something.
Yeah, if you see one of these sick bastards doing some nasty shit like that, call that number. I'll just flat out say it, because what's wrong with people, man? That's even a thing.
Know.
But yeah. Thanks for that, John. Very important information there. But gentlemen, we're wrapping up now, right, Chris? Because I'm way off here, man. All right. Let's wrap things up here. But again, gentlemen, we got some plenty of wrestling to look forward to in the coming months as well. Hoping to get some more WWE returns. We've been hearing some Bray Wyatt rumors circulating there, so we'll see in the weeks to come here what goes on with the continuation of Triple H taking over WWE, and of course the fallout from AEW. We'll be talking about it here on the Falls Count Anywhere podcast with some guests lined up in the pipeline for some future shows. Again, sorry we weren't able to get Bobby Bass on today, but we will have him for a future episode. And guys, hold it down next week. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll check in with everything, and we'll be back with you then. But guys, have a great rest of your weekend, and to everybody viewing as well, have a great weekend.
And the start of NFL, and let's remember tomorrow is also 9/11, so we'd like to remember that and
yes, sir.
Everything that goes along with that.
Yes, sir.
Take care, everyone.
All right, guys, take care.
Yep.